All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're cracking open the ultimate instruction manual, the code that builds every single living thing on this planet, and that includes you. I mean, really think about it. What is it that dictates the color of your eyes, or how tall you are, or even your blood type? The answer to all of that, it's all written down in a microscopic masterpiece of information storage. And that masterpiece is a molecule called deoxyribonucleic acid. Yeah, that's a mouthful, so we're just going to call it DNA. And in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to decode it piece by piece. So here's our journey for today. First, we'll ask, what is this code? Then we'll go on a little adventure to see where it's hidden inside your cells. After that, we'll break down what it's made of, hear the amazing story of its discovery, and finally, we'll figure out what this whole blueprint is actually for. Okay, first things first. Before we can start digging around for this code, we kind of need to know what we're looking for, right? So what exactly is it? At its most basic level, DNA is just an incredibly complicated molecule. But it's not just any molecule. No way. It's a carrier of information. It is the complete and total genetic code that has every single instruction needed to build and run you, or a tree, or a tiny little ant. Now, to actually find this code, we have to shrink ourselves down. I mean, way, way down. Let's zoom right into the microscopic universe that's humming along inside your body right now. Imagine for a second that we are floating inside one of your cells. All around us is this jelly-like stuff called the cytoplasm. This is where all the action happens, where all the cell's machinery is working away. But the master blueprint, the really important stuff, it's not just floating around out here. For that, we have to go deeper. We're heading for the cell's command center, the nucleus. You can think of it like a high-security vault. It's protected by a double wall, a membrane, that has these tiny little gateways or pores that are very strict about what they let in and out. Okay, we just slipped through one of those pores, and inside we see this tangled, almost web-like structure floating around. This is what's called the chromatin network. And believe me, we are getting very, very close. Because that web, it's not just some random mess of threads. Oh no. It is an unbelievably organized system where the genetic code itself is wound up super, super tightly. I mean, it's just an amazing feat of data storage. We found it. This is your DNA. So now that we've actually found the DNA, let's zoom in even more. What is this incredible molecule actually made of? What are its fundamental building blocks? The most basic unit of DNA is something called a nucleotide. Now, the official term is monomer, but that just means it's a single piece that's designed to link up with others to build a long chain. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like this. If your DNA is a giant instruction book, a nucleotide is just a single letter. And what's kind of wild is how simple each of these letters really is. Every single nucleotide is built from just 3 parts. You've got a phosphate group, a type of sugar called deoxyribose, and then the real star of the show, a nitrogenous base. That third piece, the base, that's what makes each letter different. And get this, in the entire alphabet of your DNA, there are only 4 letters. That's it. Adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. We just call them A, G, C, and T for short. The specific order of these 4 letters is what spells out, well, everything. Now, here's the absolute golden rule of DNA. It all comes down to how these letters connect. They follow a super strict rule. It's called complementary base pairing. Adenine, or A, will only and always pair up with thymine, or T, and guanine, G, will only ever pair with cytosine, C. A with T, G with C. That rule is the key to everything. This beautiful, elegant structure, we didn't always know about it. For a long, long time, it was one of the biggest mysteries in science. So how did we finally crack the code? Well, the big breakthrough happened back in the 1950s. A truly brilliant chemist named Rosalind Franklin, working with Maurice Wilkins, managed to capture these incredibly important X-ray pictures of the DNA molecule. When 2 other scientists, James Watson and Francis Crick, saw her images, it was the final clue they needed. They put the puzzle together and in 1953 proposed the iconic 3D double helix model. It was a discovery that changed biology forever. And this is the shape they figured out. The best way to picture it is a ladder that someone grabbed at both ends and twisted. The long, strong sides of the ladder are made from those sugar and phosphate parts we talked about. And the rungs of the ladder? Those are base pairs.
A connected to T and G connected to C, holding the two sides together.
All right, so let's bring this all home. We know what DNA is, we know where to find it, and we know what it looks like. But so what? Why does any of this matter? What does this master blueprint actually do? Well, the code is read in chunks, and we call those chunks genes. A single gene is basically just a short stretch of DNA that holds the specific instructions for one particular thing. Think of it like a recipe. It could be the recipe for your blood type, or it could be a gene that influences any of your countless physical traits.
Now remember how we found all that DNA packed away in the nucleus? Well, that's where most of it lives, and we call that nuclear DNA. But there's also a tiny bit found somewhere else, in the mitochondria, which are like the power plants for the cell. This mitochondrial DNA is so cool because you inherit it directly from your mother, which makes it an amazing tool for tracing your ancestry way, way back.
So, if we boil it all down, what is DNA's job description? It really has three main gigs. First, it runs the day-to-day operations of your cells. Second, it decides when certain genes get turned on or off. And third, the big one, it passes all of your hereditary information on to the next generation. But just when you think you've got it figured out, here's a final, fascinating twist. It turns out that most of our DNA doesn't seem to code for anything at all. For years, people even called it junk DNA. But now scientists are starting to figure out that this non-coding DNA might have really important jobs that we're only just beginning to understand. The mystery is still unfolding. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? We figured out the beautiful shape of the double helix more than half a century ago. And yet the more we learn, the more we realize just how much we still don't know. What other incredible secrets are still waiting to be discovered, wound up tight right inside our own cells?